Salam and welcome. Thank you for joining part 12 of The Way to the Quran by Khurram Murad. And we're busy with chapter number 1. And chapter number 1 has to do with the journey of life, as it is listed over there. Chapter 1 is the journey of life. And my thanks go to the Pretoria North Muslim Educational Institute, when this was given out at the inauguration of Masjid-Sulaiman. And my thanks also to the Islamic Foundation, Leicester in UK, Brother Haris Ahmed, and our, may Allah SWT reward Sheikh Khurram Murad for this magnificent book, The Way to the Quran. Right, so we are busy with part number 12. So we need to now understand where Khurram Murad is now saying that we need to return to the values of the Quran and to try and make it a living reality, because the Sahaba Ikram regarded the Quran as a living reality. But how do we do that? So Khurram Murad says, I'll refer to him as Sheikh Murad, says there appear, however, to be some difficulties, not least of which has to do with the fact that the Quran was revealed at a certain point in time. Since then, we have traveled a long way, made gigantic leaps in technological advances, and seen considerable social changes taking place in human society. Moreover, most of the followers of the Quran today do not know Arabic, and many who do have a little idea of the living language of the Quran. They cannot be expected to absorb its idiom and metaphor, so essential to exploring and absorbing the depths of the meaning of the Quran. Yet its guidance, by its own claim, has an eternal relevance for all people, this being the word of the eternal God. For the truth of this claim, it seems to me, it must be possible for us to receive, to experience, and to understand the Quran as its first recipients did, the Sahaba Ikram, the Ansar and the Muhajirin, at least in some measure and to some degree. At least there must be some way that this can penetrate into our heart, into our mind, and into the depths of our very soul. God's guidance in its fullness and with all its riches and its joys. In other words, despite the historical incidents of the revelation in a particular language at a particular time and at a particular place, we should be capable of receiving the Quran now, because its message is eternal. So it doesn't matter in what time period you are staying, or it doesn't matter what geographic location you are staying, it doesn't matter what language you are, what gender you are, what nationality you are, what race you are. The message of the Quran is eternal and it is universal, as long as you are a human being, and in some cases even for the unseen creatures known as the jinn. So as long as you are those part of the creatures that have been created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then the Quran is relevant to you as a descendant of Adam and Eve, capable of making its message as much a real part of our lives as was for the first believers, and with the same urgent and profound relevance for all our present times, concerns and experiences, because the Quran gives us solution. It has values in it, principles in it, guiding principles that give us solutions to the problems that besiege us and besail us as members of a community. It doesn't matter in which community you live. You can be living in Gauteng, in Cape Town, in Durban, in Bloemfontein, in Polokwane. You can be living in Malawi, Eswatini, in Swaziland, in Namibia, Zambia, Zimbabwe, Africa, Kenya, on the plains of the Serengeti, in America, North America, South America, Europe, Middle East, Australia, China. It doesn't matter where you are. Quran has got relevance for everybody. But the question is, how do we do this? To put it very forthrightly, we can only do this by entering the world of the Quran as if Allah was speaking to us through it now. Right now Allah is speaking to us, and today Allah is speaking to you. So when you open the Quran, you must have the immediate and clear and sacred understanding that awe, that awareness, that taqwa, that God consciousness, that this is the Kalamullah, and the Creator Supreme, my Creator, is now talking to me. This is a letter from my Creator. This is a document. Like, say, for example, you go on a journey and then your mother sends you a letter. Right? So let us say there was 100 years ago when there were no cell phones and there was no telephones, and the only means of communication was by postal letter, which may take a month or 3 months to get to you. So just imagine that the Creator Supreme has now sent you a letter which has come by ship, and you are now opening this letter. Won't you read it with so much keenness? Say your mother has sent you a letter and you are in a warfare in the trenches, because this world is warfare. Because we are suffering. All of us are suffering. We are suffering to earn money. We are suffering to put our kids through school and education. We are suffering to put bread on the table because we are suffering to get a career. We are suffering in the business. So this world is full of trials and tribulations. That is why it is called dunya. Right? We'll only get peace in the akhirah, in Jannah al-Firdaus. But this is a world of trials and tribulations. So you must just imagine we are at war, you are in the trenches, and now you received a letter from your mother. Or let us say you are engaged and you receive a letter from your fiancé and you're so excited, you're going to open it, you're going to read every word. What did she say? What did she say? Oh, she's missing me. Oh, she's telling me I must do this, I must be confident, I must be hopeful. So won't you be amazed that the person who loves you has sent you this letter while you are going through so much difficulty. And this is the way that we must approach the Quran, that the entity who loves you, the Creator loves you, and out of His love for you, He has sent you this book, He has sent you words of wisdom. So you must go through the Quran line by line, word by word. And what you must do, the habit that I've also got, alhamdulillah, always keep a dictionary next to you. Keep a dictionary next to you. Even if you think you know the word, when you start with the first word, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, in the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. Now when I read, I say mercy, I know what is mercy. We all know what is mercy. We all know what is graceful. But then when you open the dictionary, I said, let's see what is the word mercy means. And then you get a surprise. Because then there's so many different synonyms for the word mercy. There's different shades of meaning. Then you say most gracious. Then you look at the word gracious and there's so many shades of meaning. And like that, as you're going through the Quran, you then start getting a deeper and deeper understanding of what it is that the words that your Creator is telling you out of His love for you, right? So Khurram Murad now is now asking that how do we do this? To put it very forthrightly and clearly, we can only do this by entering the world of the Quran as if Allah was speaking to us through it now, and Allah is speaking to us today, and by fulfilling the necessary conditions of such an encounter. And how do we fulfill those necessary conditions of that encounter? There are a few steps that he gives us that we go through this, and join me in the next step is to see what are the necessary conditions, that how do we make the Quran a living reality. Stay well, look after yourself. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen.